Dalian. So we'll move over to Elder Dalian, who is the co-founder of Ancestral Voices, along with Verona, and we're so blessed to have them on the call. Ancestral Voices is an educational initiative promoting positive and accurate representations of African cosmological knowledge and knowledge systems. Brother Dalian was born in Ghana, and he is an Akan of the Asante heritage and an initiate of Ogun in the Yoruba Ifa system. So my question and our question to you, Dalian, is how can wellness businesses ensure that they honor African heritage and knowledge rather than exploit it?
Again, so you have to excuse my manners from earlier, Michelle. Thank you for having me on the show. I think just about everybody mentioned that apart from myself. So let me correct myself as and when I can. I think thank you for this great initiative. And, I came with an answer to that question, so to speak, because that was sent to us before. But in sitting and listening and just absorbing all of the beautiful information shared, I come to look at the question now and I'm like, okay, that's not what, because I could answer that very simply. We all know what the answer should be. Give Africans their due where it should have always been given from the time we had first contact. But in hearing all that I've heard, what adds value to perhaps what I can contribute is even what is the definition of the word wellness from an African-centered point of view, if we want to go there. Because is this just a moment where you go lie in a spa, you get a bit of a heat treatment, you sweat out your worries, and then after that, the wellness is over? Is that how wellness is defined? Not at all, because again, in the African-centeredness, your wellness is not even just your physical appearance, experience, it's also your mental, your emotional. It is a whole catalog of things. Wellness, again, the single word wouldn't do it justice. So how then does the wellness industry ensure that African knowledge is honored? Firstly, we need to give it that due recognition. We need to now give it a deep study, because from what everybody has said, as we can all hear, we went from the space of repairing ancestral connections and lineages which have not been broken of our own making. So again, we have to call out colonialism and bring that into the conversation. We've talked about, please excuse me if I am mispronounced names. We've talked about healing and world peace from Baba Mendoza. We're now talking about political and social healing. We've jumped to a whole different understanding of what healing involves, especially also when it comes to the African and how we're positioned in the world view. And then my brother Ombote also specifically spoke about something which really hit a nerve, which is about the use of herbs and medicine in medicinal and therapeutic treatments, because this is also another huge aspect of what makes an African whole. Where even how you live within certain periods, how you cleanse your body with certain herbs. There's times to cleanse, there's times to celebrate, there's times for everything. Again, it's a moving, living experience is what our wellness is. In a sense, it's every second. Then we talk about Brother Leobang, honoring Baba Credo's tradition. And what's interesting is, as he came onto the call and he shifted, the minute I saw the statue, it took me back to when we went to Kuruman, because you can see Baba's imprint in the statue, so whereas we might not see the physicality of the man, we see the spirit of the man embodied in the work of the man through the creative genius of the man. And again, this becomes another aspect of our healing, because for those who've done the study, we find that even so-called European inventions, and I'll take one of the most famous ones, because we've done 15 years work of investigating what we've been led to lose. Pablo Picasso and the Cubist movement, Him spending time with our artifacts that were forcibly taken, the Cubists say very clearly, just their connection and close proximity to these objects gave them a new way of seeing. And they birthed this so-called, what we call avant-garde art movement. In the 1930s, what were Africans creating at that time? What could we create? We didn't even have access to our own cultural technologies. So what can the wellness business contribute? It needs to make the contributions of our African systems very explicit when we use it and when we reference it. If you go into certain board and business spaces now, people are not really trying to sit on long rectangular tables anymore, because that changes the energy of the meeting you're having. Whereas before there was the big powerful man sitting at the top end of the side, now people want to sit in spaces, because in spaces you can see each other. Because in our traditions, we know power is not an exertion from the top of a pyramid, it is how you work together in that circle. So again, we now move into the power of shapes, and I'll go back to brother Ombote, because I like the shapes in his background. I see an Akan symbol in there. Is the 8-sided star, which we call Instroma. Instroma is a guiding star, the stars you see in the sky. So you see, again, this is what study and real deep investigation does. You start to see your ancestors everywhere. You start to see your technologies, your ancestral technologies reflected in the world, which tries to convince you you've contributed nothing to it, because you see that everything that's nearly expressing itself is also of your ancestors. So you deserve to be here. The best thing the wellness industry can do is to repair the colonial rifts, which now, as Baba Mendoza is saying, is being felt not just by Africans, and is cracking the world to such a degree, it can crack it in a very bad way. So the healing is for all of us, So yes, that's all I can say. We need to remember the African contribution, the African legacy, and this is reflected in the people we meet today. Yeah. So when we also hear stories of Africans being mistreated in all these journeys, they're trying to go all over the world to escape the harm that's been done to them. The wellness is for all of us, and it will come very down to how we think and treat of the people we call African or Black. So yeah, sorry if my answer didn't come the way it was supposed to, but I sat here and value was added to it, So yeah, that's what I would say.
Wow. 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 I felt that. I felt every conversation. I didn't just hear, but every cell of my being. And I'm sure everyone who has tuned in, as I see all the emojis flying all over my screen, they have felt it. And I hang on to the words, you deserve to be here. So African wellness industry, as you have all gathered here today for various reasons, the African wellness industry deserves to be here. So thank you. Bye, Ete. Bye.
Tozi, Mama Tozi, what is the role of the last born child? That's an interesting question.
Yeah, I think that's Josephine's question.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Yeah, we all have our rightful place. And, many sayings say, respect your elders. Also, in any initiation and in any system, respecting those that came before you, we benefit a lot, because just like you can imagine, love flows from source down to all of us and to the generations in front of us. It's the same with your siblings. When to be in harmony is when we recognize the elder sister or elder brother and go all the way down. We find that in many families that the eldest of the brothers or the sister tends to take care of the younger siblings, not to parent them, but as a sibling. And those are roles that are played in the system. And it's common to know that firstborns also have roles that are closer to the parent. And the lastborn becomes the baby of everyone. They benefit a lot. They get love flowing from the parents, but also from their siblings. What we've come to know or remember is that the lastborn is young enough to look after the parents as the parents age. In Africa, we don't take our parents to an old age home. So the youngest of the family tends to be the one that may be healthy enough, young enough to look after the parents. We also see that also in family constellations, that when that role is respected, there's harmony. The disharmony that we also see is when, because the youngest, the lastborn, receives a lot of things. In some of the indigenous families, they get to be the most educated. And because they're most educated, they also they get to have a better job and more money. And because they have money, sometimes they want to start bossing around in the family home because they have the strength of the purse that I can decide that we're going to paint the family home green because I love green, without consulting with the elder sister or the elder brother that still lives in the home, or without consulting the family, the parents, or maybe the one last parent that is still living. And we create resentment when we operate like that. But when we remember our role as a lastborn is that I have the resources, I'm going to go to my elder and find out, what would you want us to do with this room? And they tell you, and then you can pop out the money, the resources that you have, but you do it from that respect, there's harmony. So yes, the role of the lastborn is to see to the well-being, mostly of the parents.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you, Josephine, for sharing that question. We also have another question. Corey Beckwith, I have a question. What are the responsibilities of the elders? Michelle, who would like to answer that?
Let's hand this over to our great Baba Mandaza. Baba, please, may you take that question for us.
You see, the kind of healing we are looking at is huge. It's like a burning fire from a mountain. If you go to the streets of Johannesburg today, you'll see there is still street violence. Go to Rwanda, street violence. Go to Zimbabwe, street violence. Go to any country of Africa, there's street violence. You are also going to see homeless people amongst our society, human society. You go to where the gold has been found, in gold mines. Violence again, control, leadership. You go into businesses, Mama, or religions of our world today. It's all pieces of a jigsaw puzzle instead of working together as one team. These are the illnesses that we are being asked by ancestors to look at and heal them. You see, there is no order in our human system throughout the world. Just listen to the news from the Middle East every morning. It's pathetic, very sad, very disappointing. All is not well. Go to any country, United States or United Kingdom, any country of the world. All is not well at all. What are the causes of these illnesses? Our African system, our ancestors want us to look at those things that have destroyed the Ubuntu system. The Ubuntu system is no longer there. Abuse of women because they are women. And some men are also being abused by women. What is this now? Where are we going? So the young generation of today, you and I, have to look at those challenges and those problems and see how we can bring order and peace in human society.
Thank you, Baba.
Children are looking for jobs when they are still very young. Is it, doesn't the world have enough resources to feed all these children who are supposed to be in school, who are now looking for jobs? These are the illnesses that need healing and peacemaking.
So, Baba, would you say?
When we talk of Africans, we are not looking at the black persons only. Anyone who was born in Africa is an African. How is our relationship with each other? Why do we need to fund and keep establishing more healing centers like hospitals? Do we need those? Did our ancestors of yesterday have healing medicines? Where are they? Are we not dreaming of these medicines? Are we accepting them? Just because they are coming from a black African, they cannot be accepted in society. My dear friends, every religion is praying for peace today. Every religion, every culture is praying for peace, for respect. Where have these laws and bylaws gone to? My brother was speaking and presenting when he said, I'm sorry, I'm using my mother language here. Is it a crime to use your mother language? All languages belong to Creator and ancestors. All languages. They were created and given to us by Creator and our ancestors. We respect them all the same way. No one language is better than another language. No one culture is more important than other cultures. These are the potholes we are watching and observing in human society. That is why there is conflict, non-stop conflict, separation. Let us look at the problem squarely with the words of wisdom from our ancestors. Thank you.
Thank you, Baba. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have just a few minutes left, so maybe we'll take about 2 more questions. There was a question about where do we begin? And I think, Verona, I'd really like to hear your voice on this. Where and how do we begin as an individual, where we're at?
Oh yeah, very good question, and thank you very much. I would say where you begin is a question that is very poignant for someone like myself. I'm born in the diaspora. I'm of Jamaican heritage, but acknowledge my African roots and always felt that level of disconnect and not knowing where to start. And at the very beginning of my journey, I was told simply just call upon your ancestors. And as it's been echoed throughout this conversation already, that we are our ancestors. We are the most recent incarnation of them. They literally exist within us. They exist within our very DNA. They exist within our bones. That ancestral memory is there. So once we intentionally make that effort to connect with them in whatever that may be most appropriate for you, whether it's simply lighting a candle, whether it's calling upon their names, just inviting them into your life to show you, to guide you, to help you, to heal you, to show you the way, to open the doors, to allow that journey to begin. That is how you start. So never ever feel disconnected or I don't know what to do or feel helpless. The thing is, everything we need is inside us, but it's a case of just remembering and tapping into that wisdom. And so I feel for myself, simply just on that journey, just by doing that, in my case, I lit a candle. I said, ancestors, I didn't know I was supposed to be contacting you. I didn't know this is what I was supposed to be doing. And from doing that process, I started to notice different signs and synchronicities happening in my life to the point where it could no longer be ignored. I knew that there was something else at play that was interacting within my reality to show me that my single effort, my act, my intention was now reflecting back at me. So then once that establishment was made and I knew that, okay, ancestors, thank you for acknowledging me. Thank you for this. Then I started to view the world in a different way. Suddenly, my relationship with nature became more connected. I could see certain animals being drawn to me or noticing different patterns within nature that I could say, okay, this particular animal has come to me for a reason to pass on a message. This is where we can start using our ability to understand nature and the different teachings that lie within it. So, for example, birds are seen as messengers because of their ability to both live inland and in the sky. So it's that ability to transcend both realms of existence. And once we start to look at nature as our teacher, our guide, the ultimate source of life, then we can begin to embody that relationship where we can start to connect deeper with ourselves. So I would say for anyone, that is one of the means it can happen. It can also happen through dreams. You'll find that your intuition becomes stronger. You'll start meeting people who are on the same path. It's even how I ended up meeting Dalian. And it's like your whole reality will start to open up. So never feel disconnected. I'm going to be very quick as well, but I've seen some other comments in the chat I just want to address just briefly. But once we actually start to embody this journey of ancestral connection, we realize that, as Dalia mentioned earlier, it's at every stage of our life. From introducing, if we go back to birthing practices that were originally adopted, where we would know the spirit that was coming into the world before they were even like birthed in reality, we would know the purpose of that child. We have tools such as divination. We have means to be able to communicate with the spirits from beforehand, so we can actually guide that child throughout life. Then we have rites of passage programs. We even have upon death, there's rituals to be carried out upon death in terms of burial rites. And we talk about disharmony with the spiritual realm and the physical realm and why there's so many illnesses. A lot of times it's because certain burial rites were not carried out properly. And as we also mentioned throughout the call earlier, there's certain ancestors who we may seem as so-called negative, but we have to still embrace those ancestors into the fold, cleanse them, heal them, because they are still aspects of ourselves. And if we don't acknowledge ourselves in our totality, this is where the imbalance comes. This is where mental health comes from. This is where illness comes from. So it's important that we acknowledge our wellness as a holistic aspect. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Verona. One last question. Mpulu Mbete, I think this is for you. How do we explain the Sangoma to international tourists when they come to Africa? Maybe you can just tell us briefly, like in less than 3 minutes. It needs to be a short but appropriate definition.
I think in the international space, they would be called shamans. So it's the medicine man, it's the energy healer, the spiritual healer. That's where the Sangoma is.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Okay, so we have about 10 minutes left. Michelle, I'm going to hand over to you. You've been such a gracious moderator and you've led this conversation really well. I just wanted to hand over to you so you can close it off for us, and then we can move to the next session.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Leah. Elders, thank you. Thank you. This has been insightful. It's been, I think, healing. I have no words, but utmost reverence and deep respect. As we close, one word, one seed of wisdom from each of you, to those who are tuning in, not just from Africa, but from the wider world around her.
Spirits of the world, ancestors of the world are saying there must be one world and one people. We must be one people throughout the world. Ancestors also are saying, remember, Mother Nature is your mother, she is your grandmother. How is our relationship with her?
Thank you, Baba. Thank you.
It is important. There are other humans out there in the world of different colors, different traditions, and different spiritual practices everywhere throughout the world. Ancestors are saying, you must be one people.
Thank you, Baba.
Enjoy the peace. Enjoy the peace, the freedom, the love, the justice that you find in that unity. Young people, rise up and bring back humanity. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, you heard it from the great Baba Mandaza himself. Thank you so much, Baba. Matozi, one word of wisdom that you'd love to impart with us. Thank you.
Thank you. I echo Baba Mandaza. Oneness is the word. What I do to self, I do to the other. What I do for self, I do for another.
Thank you, Matozi. You just you reminded me of a conversation I had with Baba. Baba, you might remember just a few days ago, he sent me a voice note, and I feel it's appropriate to share it here. And Baba said, your concerns are my concerns. Your worries are my worries. Your observations are my observations. So there we go. That's Baba Mandaza. And thank you, Matozi. Thank you. Mkulu Ombete, one seed of wisdom from you before we leave the baobab tree today.
Bayete, once again, thank you for today, and thank you for sharing the stage with esteemed guests, elders, Ndiabulela, Enkosi. What I would like to say is the African is so diverse. We are so diverse. that we have found ourselves in different spaces on this globe or this world, this plane, and we have learned to adapt with those spaces. And if we are going to find a way, perhaps, of bridging or finding each other or seeing each other, we are going to have a consensus, if that's what it is, or some common place at the top, that if it's a language on the other side of the world and it's a language on this side of the world, there must be a place where they meet and they understand each other from a principle standpoint and not a biased position because of where we are in this time. Because if you cannot find that, like Mkhulu Lebohang said, unity is what is lacking amongst us. We have come to this knowledge. We are remembering. We are downloading. We are uploading. We are coming towards that greatness that we once perceived or are perceiving or we knew or we know that we are. But how do we put that into a practice that is a supportive structure amongst all of us? A good brother of mine, Nga, Mshumayelu Elanga, there's a system that he works with that in my conversations with him, this could be a place that we could begin to understand each other as children of the light. That is the one point that I think we can understand each other, that we are the children of the light. We are the children of Ra. We are the children of wisdom, the wisdom keepers. And once we can meet and understand and move from that place, then I do believe that our collective spirituality would have transcended. If these are times of transcending, I think we would have achieved that as a collective generation, old and young, to be able to move this ship into the next echelon of being. With that, I'd like to say thank you and bayete.
As we have 2 minutes left, Dalian and Verona, one word, one seed of wisdom from you two powerhouses, please.
I'll be very quick. I think it's very interesting that yourself, Baba Mendoza, and Matozi mentioned that, and this is not in hindsight. I said the only thing I was going to say was a proverb from the Asante tradition where we say, which means if you make bad medicine, you will also suffer from it. At this stage, I think we can all see the very detrimental effects of too much exploitation, of our greed, of our hyper exploitation of natural and indigenous and African spaces. If we're going to heal the world, we need to bring back that respect for them. As the brother just said, look beyond the space that they forced African into, such that veil doesn't look so appealing or pleasing, So let's make good medicine. That's my message. Let's make good medicine for the world.
Beautiful. Yes. I'm just going to close it with a simple saying: if you want to heal the world, you start by healing yourself. And as soon as we start to acknowledge and embrace ourselves as Africans unapologetically and our ancestral wisdom, then we begin that process. So thank you.
Yes, thank you, Michelle.
Thank
and
you.
Everyone, all the elders on the panel. Great to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you. As we've come to the end, we close with great respect and deep reverence for the amazing spirits, the ancestors, and the beautiful elders who have come together to impart their wisdom. If you wish to connect with them further, please head over to our Instagram page, Africa Wellness Initiative. We'll pin it in the chat. All their profiles are listed there, as well as all the incredible and amazing work that they're doing. And just because it's the end of the panel and the summit does not mean we will end. The connection remains with each and every elder here. So please stay connected, and we're one. So thank you so much, Alea. I'll hand it over to you. And it's been great. Thank you all so much. Blessings.
Thank you. And thank you, Michelle, for moderating this panel. I mean, it obviously was not easy to get all these amazing, great elders together. And as we get up and off the baobab, under the baobab tree, I know that we are carrying bucket loads of ancestral wisdom. And I believe also that the wind that was blowing will also send this wisdom to the rest of our African brothers and sisters in Africa and globally, and also to our partners that are not African, but also share in the narrative and in the belief.